Don't forget to donate to the hashtag Daytona Dream 2019 GoFundMe for your chance in January to win one of these 3 Kevin Harvick diecast. Now enjoy the video. Good evening, everybody, and welcome here as we get ready for race number 13 of the season, Division 1 of the NNSCRA Skittles Super Speedway Series, as we are here to continue on the race weekend from the Joltis Mega Super Speedway. 16 laps of racing around this over 4-mile racetrack, and this is a track that can hold them 4 wide, 5 wide, if they're feeling brave, 6 wide, and definitely is one of those tracks that could play a huge factor, not only here but also in tomorrow night's Division 2 race in terms of who the 8 drivers are going to be in each respective division that are going to battle for this season's chase for the championship. Now, coming into this race, our playoff grid is starting to get rather congested, as we had a couple of drivers last week at Texas World that were outside the top 30 in points get good enough finishes to move themselves back into the top 30 in points. So we've got a lot more contenders for a limited 8 spots in the playoffs. And if we have another different driver, go to victory lane here tonight, it's going to get even more congested for those limited available postseason spots. Vance Caldwell will line up on the pole position. He becomes the 3rd different driver in Skittles Super Speedway Series history to have a win and a pole position this season, joining the likes of William Brock and Jessica Shelton. He's looking as well here in this division to be the 3rd 2-time winner on the season, as he already has a win earlier on this year, which, if memory serves me correctly, I believe was at Madrid. He will start alongside of Jonny Gardner in the number 7. Jonny Gardner comes into this race struggling, 32nd in the points. So while he's looking for a win, he's also looking at least for a decent finish to move himself back into the top 30 in points. So that way, if he can get a win here tonight or in the next 2 weeks, it will count towards a playoff spot.
Drivers, start your engines!
And as we've gotten the command to fire up the engines, let's give you, first off, your playoff standings coming into this race, and then we'll give you your overall points, as still the regular season championship is on the line as well. So right now, obviously, same song, different verse, 2-time winners, Brady Burkhart, Ryan Butcher, they currently still top the playoff standings as they are in the 1st and 2nd seeds. Then you've got the remaining 6 spots by 1-time winners, Trent Dunham, Sebastian Cucalon, Vance Caldwell, the pole sitter, Jessica Shelton, Jose Millz, and Jefferson. Jefferson, who took the checkered flag last week at Texas World. Now, he has the important thing of, at least for right now, trying to hold off 2 drivers who are trying to catch him in points that got into the top 30 in the standings last week with good finishes. Former winners Hamill and Seth Cole. For Jefferson, he comes into this race currently with a 9-point advantage between himself and Hamill, and he has an 11-point advantage between himself and Seth Cole. So very close amongst those drivers. So if Jefferson runs into trouble, he could find himself on the outside looking in as far as the playoff grid goes. But here's another thing too. Shelton, Millz, Jefferson, 6, 7, 8 in your playoff grid. Those 3 come into this race only separated by 9 points, so if Shelton or Millz run into problems here tonight as well, they could be on the outside of the playoff grid looking in, heading into next week's race at Riki Raceway. As far as the overall points coming into this race, still a pretty close points battle at the top. We got Ashlin Boyd, 3 points over Trent Dunham. Brady Burkhart, only 8 points back in 3rd. 13 points back is where you find Cody Smart, Sebastian Cucalon, 21 points back currently in 5th. Then you've got Laurent Lemount, Patrick Zych, Ryan Butcher, JT Bryant, and Matt Haas. That's your top 10. Technically, a full race separates the top 10 in points, 41 points in total. Well, I've been doing a lot of commentary here today. Recorded the 2 qualifying sessions, recorded a race earlier for the Budweiser All-Pro Series, and recording this one. My throat is parched. Give me a brief second. You're going to hear some radio silence because I'm going to take a quick drink of water. Alright then, here we go. Coming out of turn 4, the pace car will make the left-hand turn down to pit road. And And it's time to see him fan out and have some fun. Vance Caldwell and Jonny Gardner. Green flags in the air, it's on Joltis, let's roll! Caldwell gets out in front. Jonny Gardner. He's got drafting help up there on the outside line, trying to get second place away from Benjamin Miles. Shane Lake's going to help him keep the second position. 3 wide for third now. Carter Friesen to the bottom. His buddy Andrew Miller there. They're already 4 wide in the middle of the pack. 5 wide, I think, for a brief moment there as Laurent Lemount was trying to get out of that big mayhem back there. One thing I'm going to be very interested to see in this race in particular, 4 miles in length is the track. 16 laps doesn't seem like much, however, it takes them over a minute to complete a lap around the track, as Jonny Gardner is going to dive low for the top spot. And so I'm going to be very interested to see if they can make it the 16 laps on fuel, or will we see green flag pit stops in this race? Of course, if we have a caution, that of course will throw a monkey wrench into it as well, but I don't know. That'd be very interesting. That'd be what? Boy, I have to do math in my head. I hate doing math. That's about what? 64 miles they would have to make on 1 tank of fuel. Don't know if they'd be able to make that or not. Vance Caldwell trying to get the spot on the high side. Not going to be able to do it. I think what we're going to see at this track, if I recall correctly, is the inside line gets the momentum in the corners, but on these long straightaways, everybody seems to want to go up against the wall, so the outside line gets a pretty good run. So if you're going to make a move on that top side, you're going to hope that you clear the car on your inside before you get into the turns, or else that car on the inside is going to get the run and pass you back. Goldberg was way up the track back there. I don't know if he brushed the wall or not, as they are 5 wide in the middle of this pack. I said they were going to be, and they indeed are. Drop back here. Now they're back to 4 wide there with Eli Bright and Matt Haas, Jake Rogers, Seth Cole, Diego Yepez. There's a 5 wide as Goldberg way up on the top again. 5 wide again there with Dunham, Bright, Haas, Lake, and Taylor. And as you can see, some pretty good space in between all those cars. They're giving each other some very good room, which is very easy to do here at Joltis, as we have had a change for the lead. Ashlin Boyd to the front. Ashlin Boyd, the points leader, and now the new race leader. And as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season, with only 3 races remaining here, you start to look at drivers where they are in points in relation to 30th in the standings, in relation to a driver that may come into this race to the 8th seed. Well, right now, Ashlin Boyd comes into this race ahead of Jay Jefferson by 79 points. That would equal out to roughly just a little under 2 races. If Ashlin Boyd can come away with the win, even if he doesn't win any of the other 2 races here in the regular season, I think that Ashlin Boyd, as a one-time winner, could lock up a spot in the playoffs as early as tonight. But here comes a challenge from JT Bryant, that Pennzoil number 22. JT Bryant's been very quiet this year. 9th in the points coming into this race. 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Average finish of 16th, but still trying to find victory lane. Didn't have the best of runs last week at Texas World. Dropped 4 spots in the standings. Was up as high as 5th in the points. And that was where he was last week heading into that Texas World race. And up on the top side, you've got 1 purple car in J.J. Roberts. Right behind him, you got the other purple car. That's Jack Mitchell. Mitchell started this race from dead last and has been able to work his way now up into the top 10 within the first 5 laps of this race. JT Bryant now on the inside lines. Got the momentum. Can he clear Ashlin Boyd off the corner? Not quite. Oh, yes, he did. I didn't think he quite had cleared. I thought Ashlin Boyd was still to his right rear quarter panel, but Bryant now going to take the top position away from Ashlin Boyd. Laurent Lemount now going to cycle up into third place, as Bryant at 275 miles per hour leads the field around 276. I think we hit 276 in the race a few weeks ago at Toddring. So I think we might be just in the same vicinity of speed-wise as we had in the Toddring race, as Ashlin Boyd takes a peek. But I don't think there was a full car length of room for Ashlin Boyd to make the move right there in that corner. Joshua Lee now up to fourth. Preston Plourd trying to clear Trent Dunham. That would be for fifth. Not quite clear yet. Now he clears him. I think Trent might have let him in. Trent now into sixth. Kyle Mathews right there in seventh. We've talked about it the last couple of weeks after Sanford went to victory lane. Now Mathews, the lone Retro Racing Enterprises Chevy, to find victory lane. His teammate Jessica Shelton at the back of the pack. I saw a couple of drivers purposely go back there. Shelton was one, Benjamin Miles in the 25 was another. As now Laurent Lemount steps out of line for second. No drafting help down there, though. And as soon as I say that, Joshua Lee, who had the drafting help on the high side, now he has no friends. He has to slot back into the fourth position. Slingshot move there by Ashlin Boyd. Whoa! I think JT Bryant expected that Ashlin Boyd was going to try and drive it down deep, went down to throw the block. Joshua Lee going to try for third place again. This time he's got a little bit of drafting help down there. J.J. Roberts. Now it turns into a battle for fourth as Trent Dunham got alongside of him using the outside line. And now Joshua Lee, no friends again. Dunham's got Roberts. He's got Preston Plourd. Nobody seems willing to work with the Quicken Loan Chevrolet, at least right now. And Trent on the outside line will move down and take the fourth position. At Ashlin Boyd there in second, Trent Dunham in fourth. Those two separated by 3 points coming into this race for the points lead. Boyd's going to step out on JT Bryant. Can he get to the right rear quarter panel is the question, and no, will not be able to. Patrick Zych there in the 04, starting to work his way to the front. Same for the 88 of Austin LaPlante, so we're starting to see some new players coming up towards the front of the field. See him continue to fan out down the front straightaway as Bryant continues to lead the way. This track's so difficult for the driver out in front and the driver behind alike, because for the driver behind, if you make a move, you have to have someone go with you in order to make it work, because we've seen how the inside and outside line can counter each other. But for the driver that's out in front as well, it's got to be so difficult because the track is so wide. How do you choose which lane you've got to block? There's so many options for the driver behind you to try and make a move, whether it be to the outside or to the inside. Ashlin Boyd going to try the outside line again and might regret that. Well, nope, not quite. I thought maybe Laurent Lemount might be able to get to the inside of Ashlin Boyd. Not the case. Whoa! Lemount tried to have Patrick Zych work with him to try and take second and third away from Ashlin Boyd. Patrick Zych went into business for his own and moved Lemount out of the way. I don't know if there was contact or not, but that 36 got awfully loose in the center of the corner. And just like that, he's going to drop possibly out of the top five. Zych will move into the third position. Roberts into fourth. Oh, look at Patrick Zych making moves. Oh, didn't have enough of a run, though, to get to the outside of Ashlin Boyd. Roberts going to slot into fourth. Lemount will tuck in line in fifth. And now it looks like Patrick Zych wants more. He's going to go for second place on Ashlin Boyd. Not really much help there, though. He might get left out to dry on the inside line. Now he's got some help maybe coming in the form of Laurent Lemount. And now J.J. Roberts, as Patrick Zych was able to stay alongside of Ashlin Boyd down that straightaway. Patrick Zych's got a fast race car, no doubt about that. And it seems like he's able to put it wherever he wants to. Now sets his sight on the race lead. J.T. Bryant, ooh. Little squirrely through that corner as now Roberts jumps up to the outside line looking for some help from Ashlin Boyd. And And we got pit stops. That answered the question. I didn't know if we were going to have pit stops or not. They're pitting on lap 10. And I think this is the pit stop that'll see them to the checkered flag. Someone went way wide. A couple of cars did. Riley Spurlytube and Philip Goldberg, and I think they both are going to miss pit road. They came in too fast. They're going to have to go back around. So Patrick Zych, JT Bryant, they are in. That turns the race lead over to JJ Roberts. However, Roberts did not lead that lap because the entrance to pit road is after the start-finish line. So Bryant actually led that last lap. Only 2 drivers came to pit road on that last lap. Well, let's say 2 drivers made it onto pit road. Spurlytube and Goldberg, they tried to get to pit lane, and they're going to lose a lot of track position as a result of missing pit road because that killed a lot of their momentum, and they're also probably going to not be in a big draft either. Let's see if anybody's coming to pit road this time. Looks like Trent Dunham looks like he's committing. Roberts is coming in. Lemount, Joshua Lee. Ashlin Boyd's going to stay out. Is everybody here from this group going to make it to pit road? Everybody up at the front, at least, is going to get to pit lane safely. Oh, a couple of cars riding wide there. Tristan Fowlkes and Cody Smart. Ooh. Why'd I have that reaction? I've seen so many drivers out in that outside line come into the pit road entrance, and they end up hitting the pit wall. Looks like Goldberg and Spurlytube finally do make it to pit road safely as well. That turned the race lead over to Ashlin Boyd, who stayed out along with William Duncan, Austin LaPlante, Diego Yepez, looks like Roger Ray, Sebastian Cucalon, Qualls, Friesen, Taylor, Winkle, Ciculli, and Millz all stayed out. And with these drivers coming to pit road, the first of the drivers that hit pit lane, it was at the completion of lap 9, so these drivers are going to be good to go to the checkered flag on fuel. Looks like Duncan's going to stay out another lap. Cucalon will stay out with him. Everybody else is hitting pit road, and boy, a lot of these drivers look like they went way wide. Qualls, Friesen, Taylor. They're going to have to come back around. I don't think they can make it to pit road. Oh, boy. Qualls is going to try. Oh, and he hit the pit wall. He hit the pit wall. Is that going to throw a caution? There was oncoming traffic. Will they throw the yellow? Yes, they will. Caution is out. That's going to change up everything. Qualls hit the pit wall. He probably would have been better off just trying to come back around, and that's going to end his day. It's a big break for some other drivers that may have missed pit road. Friesen's got damage, as does Taylor. I think they might have hit each other. We'll have to find out. But William Duncan, Sebastian Cucalon, I think they're going to have to probably come to pit road this time. No, they're going to stay out. Uh-oh. They're going to have enough fuel to make it. Duncan's the leader. Cucalon is second. They are the only 2 that have not yet come to pit road. I think I would have come down pit road this time, even though it would technically be a closed pit lane. Because if they're going to have to pit anyway, they're probably going to be losing track position regardless. So if you're going to have to start at the back of the pack, why not start at the back of the pack and still have fuel? It's also going to be interesting to see how many laps we're going to have left to go, because when Duncan just hit the line, there's 4 laps remaining. Will we get enough caution laps to have a green-white check or maybe a 1-lap shootout, or will this race end under caution? If that's the case, then we would have to see who currently would be scored in the 3rd position, which right now they're saying is Eli Bright, but I think Eli Bright's out of fuel. I think some of these guys are out of fuel. Cucalon, I think, is out of fuel. Taylor is out of fuel. I think these are some of the guys that missed pit road. Millz, I think, is out of fuel. Eli Bright, Winkle, Friesen's out of fuel. And I think that would put the race lead over to Ashlin Boyd. Bright's down on the apron. Is Duncan out of fuel? Duncan stayed out. Well, he's not out of fuel yet. Boy, that caution was horrible for some of these guys. The timing of it. Excuse me. I think Ashlin Boyd will cycle around as the race leader when Duncan hits pit road. But for now, let's go back and see what happened to James Qualls that brought out the caution flag. And we saw this live. James Qualls runs wide. Friesen does as well. Taylor does. And here's the problem for James Qualls. He probably would have been safer just keeping the car on the apron, coming back around like Philip Goldberg and Riley Spurlytube had done the lap before, but he tries to cut it as low as he can to try and make it onto pit road. And this was what I was afraid was going to happen earlier, and it happens right there. Qualls right into the edge of the safer barrier, and now we know why Friesen and Taylor had damage. Zack Winkle squeezed them down into the wall. So both the John Deere cars with damage, as well as Carter Friesen's Toyota. And James Qualls with that hard hit into the pit wall. That's going to end his day. And boy, Qualls just cannot catch a break this year. Dead last in the points coming into this race. He's still looking for his first top 5, only one top 10, average finishing position of 28th. Yeah, he's got the pole at Pigs Creek, but in terms of race trim, that team just has not been able to buy a good finish, and looks like he will be finishing out of the race again here this week at Joltis. Question is, though, will his wreck end this race under caution, or will we finish under green? Let's go back and find out. And unfortunately, when the field took 2 to go, the caution lights were still on. The lights needed to go out at that point for us to know that we would be going back green with 1 lap remaining. Caution lights are still on. The leader has taken the white flag, and the race leader, forefront in your screen, Ashlin Boyd, who came into this race as the points leader. So Ashlin Boyd is going to come away with this win under caution. Came in the points leader, is going to get his first win of the season. And I think we can say, as a one-time winner, would be the first one-time winner locked into this season's playoffs, because he's going to gain a lot of points. Came into this race already almost 2 races ahead of the driver that had the 8th seed, Jay Jefferson. So I think that regardless of what happens in the upcoming 2 races at Ricci and Orlando, I think Ashlin Boyd with this victory is going to be locked into one of the 8 playoff positions. Number of drivers looked like they were going to have some good finishes here today with the timing of that caution. Coasting around the track here under these pace laps, trying to make it back to pit road, including William Duncan, who I think did make it back to pit road. Benjamin Miles, I think, did as well. But Eli Bright, Carter Friesen, Zack Winkle, Zachary Taylor, they were all out of fuel on the apron trying to make it back around. I don't know if they all made it or not. Got a number of drivers just ahead there. Jose Millz, Jake Rogers, Tristan Fowlkes, Cody Smart, Derek Hamill. They're going to finish on the tail end of lead lap, but just ahead of the race leader as Ashlin Boyd comes in points leader, leaves race winner, as he will take his first checkered flag of the season, winning under caution here tonight at Joltis. I think something I'm going to do for tomorrow night's Division 2 race is I'm going to edit the track INI so that we only have 1 lap of caution, so that if we have a late caution like we had here, we will at least be able to get back green flag racing. I wish I had known that was going to be the case of what would happen here tonight, or I would have made the track INI edit sooner. But the question is everybody ready for Freddie? Because Freddie Fosbear is going to be in victory lane here tonight at Joltis. Standings should be official. They are not. I think we are still waiting on Millz, Rogers, Fowlkes, Smart, and Hamill to come around. But I think the standings are as official as they're going to get. Now we can make sure they're official. Just do this. There we go. Alright, so the standings now are official. It will be Ashlin Boyd with the win. Austin LaPlante, great run for him as he's going to bring it home in 2nd. Diego Yepez 3rd. Joshua Ciculli in 4th. Roger Ray in 5th. Field definitely got shuffled up with the green flag pit stops and the timing of that caution. It will give Shelton 6th. She spent most of the race in the back. Roberts, it will get 7th. JT Bryant, who I believe was the race leader when the pit stops began, he's going to be 8th. Laurent Lemount in 9th. And Jack Mitchell, who started this race from dead last, will bring it home in 10th. Joshua Lee will be 11th. Patrick Zych in 12th. Mathews 13th. Dunham 14th. Brady Burkhart 15th. Then Miller, Zoerlein, Plourd, Cole, and Gardner will complete the top 20. Jay Jefferson, who came in the 8th seed, this win by Ashlin Boyd might knock him out of the playoffs. He finished in 24th. He had to basically battle with Shelton and Millz, who came into this race in the 6th and 7th seed, while Shelton finished 6th, so I think she's still in. Jefferson might have been able to get the 8th playoff spot from Jose Millz, because Millz is going to finish this race in 29th. So we'll have to see if it's going to be Jefferson or Millz that's going to be in the 8th playoff seed heading into next week. And then William Duncan, he did manage to finish on the lead lap in 28th, but he was the leader when the caution came out. That was not what he needed. Off the lead lap, we mentioned Millz. Then we got Rogers, Fowlkes, Smart, Hamill. That's a big one right there. Derek Hamill had a great run last week, moved back into the top 30 in points. 33rd is where he finished here tonight. Eli Bright, Zack Winkle, Zachary Taylor, Benjamin Miles, Carter, Friesen. Got Sebastian Cucalon 2 laps down there. He was another of the drivers that wasn't able to make it on fuel. He finishes in 39th. Cucalon came into this race up in the top 5 in points, I believe, 5th in the standings, so I don't think it's going to hurt him as far as the playoff picture, but as far as battling for the overall regular season championship, it will. And the only car to finish out of the race, the car that brought out the caution, James Qualls, when he hit the pit wall trying to get to pit road under green flag conditions. So Ashlin Boyd will get a 1 in the win column, will gain a ton of points, may have locked himself up a spot in the playoffs already, and will extend his points lead in the overall regular season championship point standings. So a lot of goals checked off for Ashlin Boyd here tonight as he takes the checkered flag at Joltis. So if you guys enjoyed tonight's race, if you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you full finish results. These are your point standings heading into next week as we will be at Riki Raceway. Tomorrow night, you guys will see the Division 2 races. We cap up this race weekend from Joltis. Till then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.